Every single bowler has a unique style, and while some bowlers share similarities, no two styles are ever the same, which is what makes the game so interesting to watch. I recently did a video where I looked at what are some of the most quote-unquote ugly styles. Although I've titled this video as Ugly Styles, probably a bit of a kinder word would be unorthodox. Of course, it really doesn't matter how you get the ball down the lane if all the pins fall over. So I looked through all of your comments from my previous video and there were lots of suggestions for other players that should have been included. Which is why I've decided to make a part 2, as there were a number of bowlers who probably should have made part 1. Thank you for all of your suggestions, and if there are even more bowlers with ugly/unorthodox styles that you can think of, let me know in the comment section below and I may well make a part 3 video. So with the intro out of the way, let's start with today's video. We have 5 bowlers with ugly styles to look at today, so let's start with number 1, Rudy Revs.
Now Rudy, watch this guy through the ball. Power strike, and he wants to hear him.
Once I get up there, I can't see it at all.
A lot of power. Look at this backswing. Bang. Really unleashed it. Third frame.
Rudy Kazimierz, aka Rudy Revs, was suggested by a number of people on my last video and you can see why. His swing is particularly unorthodox, but the amount of revs he puts on the ball, particularly for the 80s and 90s, was incredibly impressive. Although he never won a PBA title, this guy was seriously good, and there was a really great video of a 1988 high roller tournament that Rudy won. There's also another telecast that's definitely worth a watch, and that's the 1999 Flagship Open where Rudy played Chris Barnes for the title. Both players were incredibly fired up and it was a very entertaining match. Number 2, Tim Kegel. Now we come on to a style that is pretty mind-boggling to watch. At first you think it's just a two-handed style until he releases the ball from his chest. It's a style that will certainly have the bowling purists up in arms, and it definitely isn't the prettiest, but he scores extremely well with this technique. He has mainly competed on the PBA regional tour, and I'm sure he's left many scratching their heads at the way he delivers the ball. And funnily enough, in this video, he was bowling against Wayne Garber, who has an extremely unusual style himself. Garber actually featured in my part 1 video, so if you haven't watched that already, you can do so by clicking the link above. Number 3, Ron Williams.
Ron Williams. His 12th television appearance, 2-time champion. And loops it into the pocket.
The back, you see the push away going out to the side. What a tough way to take the ball away. Now look at this. Chris, I would say he could never learn to bowl this way. Now watch him wrap it back in, get it right next to that left leg, and then he has a style very similar to Dave Ferraro. Off to an early lead, second frame.
And he does just that, having won the 1990 AC Delco Classic. Right here, Ron Williams. All right. Fourth frame. Back striking.
Ron Williams, I think, is a very strong contender for one of the most unusual swings of all time. I can't quite get my head around how he was able to swing the ball in this way, and most importantly, do it the same way every single time. But it definitely worked for him, as he won 4 PBA titles between 1988 and 1993. Number 4, Wayne Webb.
Yep, 30,000 to the winner, 10,000 incidentally, won by Palmer Falgren. Looking for a double. This is the final game, live from Riviera Lanes. All even.
These professional bowlers, all even through 2 frames.
All right, here we go. Competitor in his 3rd match. And just like that, he's strung 4 years. Coming into this match, 20 and now 5.
Wayne Webb adopted a style in the early 80s that was very unique and unorthodox. He started with the ball right down low by his side and would simply swing and start walking. This style had actually been used before by Carmen Salvino, who did something extremely similar. The idea behind this is that it helps to give the bowler almost perfect timing, and it was very effective for both players. I believe that Webb switched back to a conventional approach at some point during the 80s, but he would return to this low starting approach during the early 2000s. It is extremely unusual, but it did work for him. Number 5. Ken McNeal.
5 days as he's bowled 269, 298, and 245. So let's see what it can do under the gun for the big bucks.
All right.
Much like Larry Lichstein of years past, but he has a great cupped wrist action. Really can't see how good his wrist. And despite all this style, he's in perfect position on the pivot step last night.
So the 27-year-old from the Appalachian Mountains in Morganton, North Carolina.
As the ball cups it in the bottom, sets that index finger out, and then rolls that wrist under and actually supports it on the forearm. If you can do that, you can get tremendous power on the ball. Tonight.
Blue eyes.
Your favorite. Match all even. Both players perfect through 3 frames. Oh.
Pesky 7.
I like to watch them bowl.
Youngsters as well. Good break.
Our final bowler on today's list is Ken McNeal. Honestly, I don't know quite what he's doing with the ball at the beginning of his approach. It almost reminds me a little bit of the way Thomas Calco holds the ball on his first couple of steps, but of course McNeal is not two-handed. His footwork is also very quick. His wrist as well is very cupped, and although there's so much going on when he gets to the line, he's actually in great position and he does deliver the ball well. In this clip, he was in the title match of the 1995 Johnny Petraglia Open, but would not capture a title, losing to a fellow lefty, John Gantz. And there we have it. Those were more very unorthodox / ugly styles. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as I mentioned earlier, feel free to let me know any other suggestions for other bowlers that I could include in this type of video, and I might well make a part 3. As always, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and if you have enjoyed what you've seen today, it would be much appreciated if you would click the subscribe button below. That's going to do it from me for today, and as always, thank you bowling fans, and see you all next time.